So hi and welcome all to our webinar, Unlocking Innovation, a Composable Commerce Approach to Headless with SAP Commerce Cloud. Today's discussion is being recorded and will be shared up in a follow-up email. Should you have any questions for the panel or want to engage with the other participants, please feel free to use the chat function. Now introducing our rockstar speakers for today, we have our technical director, Sergio Granada, our delivery director, Ignacio Pascual, and our technical architect, Alejandro Granada. Sergio, off to you to get us started.
Thank you, Jonathan. Hello, everyone. I'm Sergio, and it's a pleasure to be here with you today for this webinar on headless and composable commerce strategies. Let's get started. So what is headless commerce? Let's dive into the concept. What exactly is it? Headless commerce is a modern approach to online business that offers some fantastic advantages. First, it's API-centric. So it basically means that all your e-commerce functions can be accessed through APIs, and they are not tied to a specific front end. It gives you the freedom to choose how you want to present your online store, right? Second, it is front-end agnostic. This means that you have the freedom to choose any front-end tool, any front-end framework out there, like whether it's React, Angular, Vue, or something else to create the look and feel of your online store. No restrictions here. Third, headless commerce is omni-channel. This means that you can sell your products or service through different platforms or devices, whether it's on the web, mobile, IoT devices, or even social media. And finally, it's built on a decoupled architecture. This simply means that the front end and back end of your online store are separated, giving you the freedom to make changes to one without affecting the other, right? So in a nutshell, headless commerce is about flexibility, freedom. It allows you to create fantastic online shopping experiences without being limited by technology. So now let's jump into how these architectures have evolved, right? Let's explore the evolution of these e-commerce architectures from monolith to headless and finally to composable. So let's just start with monolith. In the beginning, we had monolith. This means that the front end and the back end were tightly coupled. So it was like having everything in one big box. In the context of SAP Commerce, that was the case with the accelerator storefront. I don't know if you are familiar with it. It was built with JSP, Java server pages. Everything was in the same code base, right? Then it evolved to a headless approach. Headless architecture brought a big change. It introduced separation between the front end and the back end. Think of it as having two separate pieces that can work independently, right? This separation gave businesses more flexibility to choose different technologies for each part. In the context of SAP Commerce, everything started to be exposed through APIs. I don't know if you are familiar with the OCC module. And also SAP introduced the open source project called Spartacus, which is a headless storefront built on top of the Angular framework, right? And now the latest evolution, which is composable. Composables take it a step further. So apart from the separation between front end and back end, we have composability. And what this means? So you can mix and match different components like building blocks to create your e-commerce experience. It's like having a toolkit of options to build your online store the way you want. Each of those blocks, as you can see in the screen, can come from different providers. Okay. Now let's talk about, so here's some perspective on composability. So let's see some insights from leading research and advisory firms about composability. Composability is the future of enterprise applications, and digital commerce is leading the way by Gartner. Organizations that have adopted a composable commerce approach to outpace the competition by 80% in the speed of feature implementation, also by Gartner. And finally, Forrester said that 1/3 of digital businesses will regret playing software company in 2023. 1/3 of digital businesses will abandon or restructure mainstream commerce projects. So in conclusion, composability in e-commerce is the future, as recognized by Gartner and Forrester. Now, here's the agenda for today. We will explore 3 different approaches that support or align with a composable architecture, okay? The first approach, using the SAP Composable Storefront. This strategy is built on SAP's Composable Storefront product, formerly known as Spartacus, as a foundation. You can leverage the existing features of this Headless Storefront and easily integrate or replace components based on your needs. Ignacio is going to cover this strategy. The second strategy is using a pure composable foundation. In this strategy, customers select and integrate best individual solutions for each aspect of their e-commerce system without any limitations, from Headless CMS to the preferred front-end frameworks like Next.js, React, Vue. I'm going to cover this strategy. And finally, the third approach, using a composable digital experience, DXP. In this strategy, customers offer an established digital experience platform like Optimizely, Acquia, AEM, Sitecore as a foundation. And you can make the most out of the existing features of these platforms and easily integrate or replace components based on your needs, okay? But before we dive into the details, it's important to clarify the naming and the context. So please do not confuse SAP Composable Storefront, which is the name of the SAP product, formerly known as Spartacus, with Composable Commerce, which is a concept, it's an architecture, okay? So I want to make the distinction between the two. So let's dive into the first approach. Ignacio, all yours.
Thank you, Sergio. All right, e-commerce is no longer limited to a single static website. It's a dynamic ecosystem that continuously adapts to customer needs and market changes. SAP knows about delivering user experience, embracing innovation, and meeting the evolving demands of our customers. In the past, the SAP Commerce Platform heavily relied on a monolithic approach, which often proved rigid and challenging to adapt. The code was tightly coupled, making it difficult to evolve due to the merge of the front-end and the back-end logic. To illustrate this better, one of the most significant challenges when we were developing on SAP Commerce was to create 2 separate websites with independent business logic under the same tenant. But today, there is a game changer. We are here to discuss SAP Composable Storefront, or it was previously called Spartacus. It's an exciting, flexible, and agile way to take opportunities on modern e-commerce. What is SAP Composable Storefront? Is open source, API-first approach, extendable, upgradable, contains progressive PWA features, and is the cloud-native infrastructure of SAP Commerce Cloud. This architecture, it's great, but it is a very basic accelerator to start with. How can we take SAP Composable Storefront to the next level by orchestrating great open source tools and best practices? This is our Perficient accelerator. When we start a new project, there are various aspects to consider. Not only we need to define UI components, integration elements, and business logic, but we also invest an important amount of time in setting up the software lifecycle. The software lifecycle includes establishing development guidelines, implementing testing frameworks, configuring code monitoring quality tools, performance plugins, and accessibility compliance. At Perficient, we've made a significant investment in creating this accelerator. This powerful tool reduces the time to market for SAP Commerce new implementations, upgrades, and migrations, providing the right base, the right foundation. Let me highlight some of the most important features of our solution. We have designed and developed reusable UI components like banners, carousels, menus, search widgets. Our platform offers multiple components that can be easily extended and customized based on your specific design needs. We take accessibility seriously, and our accelerator is compliant with AA level standards, ensuring inclusivity for all users. We have mobile first and PWA optimized. Our Perficient customer experience team has designed the platform with a mobile first approach. User guides. From the very beginning, we have prioritized our customers' training needs, and we have created user guides to ensure a seamless onboarding experience. Now, getting into technical details, we support server-side rendering. This is a great feature, comes with SAP Composable storefront, because we convert HTML files in the server rather than the browser. And this allows us to deliver content quickly for devices with slower processing capabilities. And on top of that, also this allows SEO crawlers to get the right content from our site. Just to be clear, this happens only the first request that you do to the website. After that, on your browser, all of the logic is headless. In terms of quality numbers, we have more than 400 unit tests with 91 code coverage, more than 300 end-to-end tests. And for SEO, we have a lighthouse score of 100%. And I'm happy to announce that we now integrated Google Tag Manager and Google Analytics out of the box. And for Coveo, which is a great partner that we have, we provide AI-driven search solution, and it's integrated, fully integrated with our accelerator, including product recommendations and analytics. So considering all of these features, our solution represents a potential cost saving of more than $200,000. Please keep in mind that our components may require adjustments to align with your project business logic and designs. But the great thing is that the resulting software will remain your proprietary code base. This is the foundation of your project. Taking a look to the architecture details. So for styles, we use Bootstrap and SAS. We employ a combination of Karma and Jasmine for unit testing. And for end-to-end testing framework, we have configured Cypress in our way to use it properly on SAP Composable Storefront. We ensure that all code contributors undergo an automated review with each commit using pre-commit hooks. And we have a styling, Husky, ESLint, PA11Y for accessibility. And for our backend developers, we have Sonar Cloud integrated. Now I'm going to do a quick demo for you guys. So let me share my screen. Right. All right. So what you guys can see in my screen, to the left side, you guys see a desktop app, and to the right, what you guys can see is it's a iPhone 14 simulator. Our web app provides full support from 320 pixels to 2,560 pixels. So from all devices to bigger screens. As you can see here on the mobile app, it's an app that is on the dashboard, so you can open and load our web app. We have all of the elements are fully responsive, so the same code works great, for example, for navigation menus. You can see here, so they work perfectly fine on different devices. Search widget, you see that we are maximizing the use of the screen, but you can see here, we're using best practices like above the fold and gray out below. Our header is fixed, so you see how we improve the experience about getting access all the time to the menu and the navigation elements. All of the elements that you guys see in the screen, the multiple reusable UI components that we have are SEO optimized, and they are fully integrated with Smart Edit. The bestseller carousel that you guys are seeing on the screen right now, this actually is coming from Coveo, based on the product recommendations. We have categories. This popular view also comes from Coveo. Featured products. And down here, these new arrivals, for example, this specific one is added manually through Smart Edit. So the great thing about this is that we are combination Solar capabilities and Coveo. That means that if you want to add products manually to the site, you can just do it from Smart Edit. Instead of dragging one Coveo carousel, you drag one of the regular product carousels that we have. Product listing pages. Can filter here on mobile. We support now variants. So you can come here and see the variants right from the PLP, all of the different options. A great thing is that you can even filter by a specific color. And the image that we are presenting is that inside of this product, there is a white one. So when you click on that specific product detail page, then you see actually selected the variant that you are looking for. So you don't have to go inside of the PDP and actually go and select the one that you will filter by. And then we have optimized all of the, let me show you, adding to the cart. Checkout and shopping cart is optimized for mobile. So you can see that we are using a tab bar approach. So then you have the fixed header, but also a tab bar here that is helping you to get access to the data without having to do a lot of scroll. In terms of performance is great. So you can see that I can move really fast between different categories, product listing pages. And then I can add products right from here. So this is perfect for B2B approaches. So you can see that the feedback is immediate on the button, and they are being added to my shopping cart. And then I can move really quick to the shopping cart, checkout. I can do login, shipping address. All the checkout has been customized based on our Perficient customer experience team. Confirm address. You see the delivery method. For payment, we are supporting right now credit cards and payment on account. And review. This is all that we have for the demo. For the confirmation, all of the details, emails, and everything has been customized. So now I'm gonna show you guys Coveo, a quick look how it works. So let me log into our Coveo platform. And inside the Coveo platform, the first thing that we need to do is create the source that right now is already integrated with our accelerator. This is pulling from OCC layer all of the product data and is creating all of that. What we have to do is create our models in terms of machine learning and artificial intelligence. We created a few of them that they are the most popular ones, like frequently viewed together, frequently bought together, car recommended, interest-based, popular view, popular bought. All of these models are using the product feed that we are importing, but also it requires to understand the user events. That's the key, right? Because the great thing about Coveo is this actually providing product recommendations based on every user experience, that type of personalization. So in order to do that, we also integrated all of the analytics into our system. So you can access here, okay? And then you can see all of the activity. So this activity, it's actually showing us that we are all of the click on one PDP product, add the product to the shopping cart, remove the product, purchase a product. All of those events are actually orchestrated with Google Tag Manager and sending events to Google Analytics and sending events to Coveo. In terms of the development guidelines that I was explaining before, this is our way to make sure that we have a great onboarding experience for our developers, and also to make sure that everyone understands the rules for development that we have here. At the end of the day, this is not training materials, but this is setting up some expectations, what we expect for everyone contributions, right? So we have for styling, TypeScript, internationalization, we have for folder structure, naming convention, and all about like how to handle icons, for example, test coverage, etc. For backend, we have, first of all, Java guidelines. We have defensive coding, Java generics, even how to use IntelliJ efficiently. So we have a specific tool, tips for our developers. Then we have the official SAP Commerce Development Guidelines for commerce specific, not only Java. And then we have other additional guidelines like type system localization. for code analysis that I was explaining before. We have pre-commit hooks specifically for front-end that it does coding rules for TypeScript and also for styles. And then for backend folks, we have our Sonar Cloud integrated that identifies bugs, code duplication, code smells, and vulnerabilities. User guides that we provide with our components. Again, keep in mind that this is just the base. Based on your modifications or your designs, these user guides are being adapted and then send it at the end of every sprint. But we provide user guides, which is the great onboarding experience for our marketers and merchants trying to apply changes on the Smart Edit. We not only provide the how to step by step, but we also provide information about how to use the images properly, because we see that as a problem sometimes, designer sending the image but not taking into account how that's going to be visualized on this specific component. So we provide that guide, and obviously the how to, the step by step about how to import that specific element to the system. Now I'm going to show you one more thing, which is our end-to-end testing. Let me click on this one. End-to-end testing is great. So we created an architecture with conventions to Cypress on SAP Composable Storefront. We have reusability of tests. We are making sure that on a specific UI component, we do not have tests duplicated. If you have a product carousel on any page, we use the same test. And those tests are being injecting the data and know what to test on that specific page. We have data separation per environment, so we can run the same test on different environments. And we have also a lazy loading. You guys know that some of the UI components are lazy loading approach. So we have an approach exactly for testing that and avoid false positives. We are testing multiple breakpoints right here. And this is great because we are testing iPhone, iPads, tablet, and laptops, desktops. And all of that is saving a lot of time for our QA team and creating this peace of mind on our developers that they are not breaking backwards compatibility. Our end-to-end tool is great, as you can see from UI perspective for development and debugging, but the best thing is that this runs completely in the background, so it connects automatically with our continuous integration pipelines, and it does this on every pull request. All right, this is what I have for the demo. I'm gonna jump in now to talk about advantages and disadvantages. All right. All right, so let's talk about this, our SAP Composable Storefront. The advantages of this solution is an integrated solution for SAP Commerce, right? SAP supports the product, so it will evolve and it won't be abandoned by the community, right? It's a stable and reliable foundation for headless commerce, and contains out-of-the-box features from SAP Commerce. If we can list some of the disadvantages, even if it's an open source solution, well, you are still vendor lock-in under SAP portfolio umbrella, right? At the end, it's an SAP product, right? And the front-end technologies evolve fast, and you stay with SAP defined technology stack for this solution, right? Which it's not bad selection at all, but you know now how the front end is evolving. Right now, React 18 is actually doing better performance rather than Angular. If we think about what to embrace, when to embrace this technology, okay, so it's the perfect solution when you want to go to market quickly, okay? You are saving money when using a combination of SAP Composable Storefront and the Perficient accelerator. That combination is when you save money and you go to market really fast. The SAP Composable Storefront is managed by SAP, so that gives you stability, right? And if you are using right now a Smart Edit as your CMS for e-commerce, and you do not want to acquire a new CMS license because you have your own components, well, this is your perfect solution, right? And also, if you don't want to bother in DevOps or infrastructure, well, if you are hosting SAP Commerce Cloud, there is nothing of that required. It's a few clicks, and then you can deploy your application, all right? And this is it. All right, remember, this is the solution of SAP Composable Storefront and Perficient Accelerator. Thank you.
To Ignacio. Now I'm going to cover strategy number 2, which is using a pure composable commerce strategy. So this strategy allows customers to select and integrate the best individual solutions for each aspect of their e-commerce without limitations, as previously mentioned. The idea here is that you can choose the best CMS to fulfill your needs, the ideal search solution that meets all your requirements, and the top front-end frameworks in the market. Okay, so I think it's better explained in this architecture diagram. So a composable commerce architecture, a pure composable commerce architecture, you can select, as I mentioned, best of breed products or frameworks to compose your e-commerce platform. For example, in the storefront, as compared to strategy number 1, where you have to, if you choose, for example, SAP Composable Storefront, you have to stick with Angular, right? In this approach, you are free. You can either choose Next.js 13, the latest version, React 18, you can even use Vue.js. For the front end, you don't have to use Sass and Bootstrap, as in the Composable Storefront or Spartacus. You can choose Tailwind CSS, which is hot right now. You don't have to stick with certain CMS solutions, like in the case of the DXP or in the case of the Smart Edit and SAP Commerce. You can choose Contentful, for example, a Headless CMS or Content Stack, which, by the way, they have integration with SAP Commerce for product and categories. Also, you don't have to stick with Solar. You can either choose Coveo, Algolia, FactFinder, or other providers. In a nutshell, you choose exactly what you need. You choose pieces, and at the end, you assemble your commerce solution with whatever you need, which is based with what is hot in the market, is based on your preference. You are wondering if, do I have to do this from scratch? Because in strategy number 1, remember, SAP provides an SDK to consume SAP Commerce APIs, the commerce functionality. And so you're wondering, in this second approach, do I have to do everything from scratch, spend a lot of time and money doing this? And the answer is no, you don't have to do that. SAP Commerce is compliant with the Open API specification, right? So what this means is that you can literally take the Open API JSON specification and use a generator to generate a client, a JavaScript or a TypeScript client. And that code basically is your SDK at the end. You can use that code to consume the APIs from SAP Commerce. In that way, you are going to save a lot of time and money. You don't have to code that from scratch. It would take a lot of time. Also, it generates the types, like a product with all the attributes, even if you have customizations in the backend. If you added new attributes to the product, if you added new attributes to the cart, the generated code contains those customizations as well. Okay. Now I'm excited to say that we are building another accelerator using this second strategy. Ignacio just show you a demo of our Perficient accelerator based on the SAP Composable Storefront. Now we are also building an accelerator using this second strategy, a pure composable commerce strategy. And here are some of the tools and frameworks we are using right now. We are building on top of Next.js 13, which supports server components. We are using React 18, which support streaming. We are using Tailwind CSS, which is, I believe, is the front-end the most used front-end framework out there right now. We are using some great tools like Storybook for UI development. Alejandro is going to show you a quick demo of our design system at the end. We are using Turbo Repo to manage a mono repository, and we are going to explain. Alejandro is going to explain you why we did this and the advantages. Basically, in our next accelerator, we are building all our components are agnostic to the logic, and they are pure presentational components. That means that you can later change technologies and you can still reuse those components. Okay, in our first phase, we are integrating with Contentful, which has an out-of-the-box integration with SAP Commerce for product and categories. In the case you need to, for example, configure a product carousel. But in a different phase, we will be integrating other headless CMS. We are also integrating Coveo to provide search results, PLPs, and recommendations. We are using Tag Manager, Google Tag Manager, and Google Analytics. And of course, the commerce functionality comes from SAP Commerce Cloud. Okay, so let's explore some of the advantages and disadvantages of this pure approach, right? In terms of flexibility, so by picking the best of breed of each component, business can tailor the e-commerce platform to their specific needs. As I mentioned, you are free to choose whatever you need to build your e-commerce platform. In terms of innovation, you can take the bleeding edge technology and bring it to your platform. You are not limited to stick with something old. That way you can innovate. Reduce vendor lock-in with a modular approach. You are less dependent on a single vendor. Remember that the idea is that you build your commerce solution with blocks, and those blocks can be replaced for something new or for a different vendor. Optimize user experience. Choosing the best products for each function can, of course, gonna bring, if you choose the best products out there to build your e-commerce platform, the end result is gonna be an optimized user experience. In terms of the scalability, as your business grows, you can easily swap out components without having to review the entire architecture. Disadvantages of this second strategy is the integration complexity. So each component can come from a different vendor, and that can bring challenges. A higher initial setup time, of course, because of the nature of selecting different products and providers, the initial setup might take longer. And skill requirement, building and maintaining a composable commerce stack may be a challenge for some organization because of the technical expertise. Now, when to embrace this strategy? So I would say you should offer this strategy when you want to combine the best individual solutions for each aspect of your e-commerce stack without limitations. It is useful when you prefer to have the freedom to use a preferred headless CMS or even preferred front-end framework for your development team. If you rather to generate your solution, implement your solution using Next.js, React, this is the strategy to go for. And this is ideal for businesses that prefer an iterative approach to development, want to be able to quickly adapt to market changes. Now, Alejandro is going to talk about composable DSP architecture. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sergio. Good morning, everyone. My name is Alejandro Granada. I'm an SAP Commerce Solution Architect here at Perficient. And today I'm pleased to be discussing the composable digital experience platforms, also called DXPs, which are a modern approach to building great digital experiences. So what is a DXP? A DXP for me is like a tooltip. A composable DXP lets you mix and match different tools to create a customized platform using the philosophy of composability. So with a composable DXP, businesses can easily make personalized shopping experiences on different devices and platforms using the different building blocks. So here in the slide, you can see some of the core components of a DXP. So for example, the CMS, the content management system, where content is created, managed, and stored. We have the analytics module, where we collect the data and user interactions to gain insights and improve the user experience. Most often they're not, DXPs offer a multi-experience module, which allows different user experiences across different devices and platforms. And they also come with personalization modules to tailor the content to individual users based on their profile, their individual preferences, their behavior, etc. They often also come with a search module to enable users to find content and product more efficiently than common search engines. We have the DAM for digital asset management, to manage the digital assets like images, videos, etc. They also come with marketing tools already integrated to create and manage marketing campaigns, which are very important for any business. And they come with commerce and customer modules also. So what are the benefits and drawbacks of using a DXP, a composable DXP? So let's just start with the advantages. First, we have a holistic experience. A DXP offers more than just an e-commerce. With tools with CMS, personalization, analytics, users get a comprehensive, holistic digital experience. Second, it's a unified platform. So managing one platform can obviously simplify operations compared to juggling between different systems. Another important advantage is the vendor support. So with regular updates, security patches, or if you have any questions on a specific feature, they will gladly help you find an expert on that feature that will explain and help you with your issues. And finally, it's an established solution. We all know that DXPs like Optimizely, Acquia, AEM, Psycho, etc. Those are solutions recognized for their robust digital experience. They have a proven track record, so you cannot go wrong with those. Some of the disadvantages, I would consider the cost to be a disadvantage, especially for smaller businesses. So the fees associated with licensing, implementing, and maintaining a DXP can be high. If you're a small business and maybe you don't need all of the features that a DXP has to offer, you only need some of those features, so the licensing cost can be something to consider. Then we have the customization constraints. This is not as free to customize as a pure composable commerce. Even though it follows the composable architecture, there are some customization constraints because some platforms may restrict how much you can tailor them to your own needs, limiting the uniqueness of your solution. And finally, it's locked in, a little bit locked in because relying heavily on one vendor can limit your flexibility in the future, especially if later on you want to switch solutions. Now, something important to discuss in when to actually embrace this strategy, when it actually makes sense to embrace a DXP. So I would consider choosing this strategy when your organization is already using an established DXP, such as Optimizely, Acquia, AEM, because if you already have it, you can apply composability on top of it because they already have a proven track record. They are robust enough, so you don't have to switch. You can build upon it. Then DXPs are also ideal for organizations looking for a unified environment because they seamlessly integrate a lot of features together, such as personalization, CMS, marketing, providing a holistic digital experience overall. And finally, and I think it's one of the most important points to consider is if you heavily center on content creation, if your strategy is heavily centered on content creation and marketing, a DXP is a really great choice. So having explored the different strategies for composable commerce, the SAP Composable Storefront by Ignacio, Composable Commerce by Sergio, and the DXP, I want to conclude with some key consideration for your ongoing or future projects. So in all of my years of experience working with SAP Commerce, Headless, and Composable Storefronts, many companies have many places where they keep their code. So this can be hard because finding and working the code becomes very difficult. Sometimes one team makes something without knowing another team already made something similar. So maybe a team already developed a button component, and a different team is also developing the same button component because they have different source codes, even if the button does the same thing and it looks exactly the same way because it's the same company and it's the same branding. So I want to introduce you to the concept of a monorepo. So what is a monorepo? A monorepo at its core is a strategy where we keep all of our code in a single repository, which includes multiple applications, shared packages, and components. So on this slide, you see a picture of a monorepo. Think of this as a big folder that holds all of your code. So in this big folder, you have two applications, one on the left and one on the right. So these apps can use a common set of code from a box, let's call it a shared box. So this shared box in the middle, it has code that many apps can use over and over. So we are using the philosophy of reusability. So when we talk about code, we have So these are some of the common things that we do with the code. We have the linting, which is for making sure that there are no mistakes in the code. We have the building process, so getting the code ready to run, and the testing phase, which is checking if the code works right. So with a monorepo, doing these things becomes really easy. For example, if we change something in the shared box, we can quickly check if it works well with all of the apps. So speaking of reusability, a great tool for component development is a storybook that Sergio mentioned in the previous slides. So I'm going to quickly share to you how a storybook works and how we have been implementing it. Sorry, my screen froze. Let me know when you can see. Can you see Google Chrome now?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for that. Okay, so we have a storybook. So here, a storybook is a great tool for component development. So here we have the structure of a design system where we have the foundations, we have all of the semantic colors. So this is great because in every project you must have semantic colors. So you need to standardize the colors. So every developer, every design team, they know what are the colors that are being used in your company, in your branding, in all of your web applications. So this is a great place to look at those semantic colors, and so they give meaning. Then we have the iconography. So here we will have all of the icons that all of the projects, all of the web applications that we have under the company umbrella, they can come here and check which are the available icons. And then here on the right, we have the list of components. So keep in mind that this component must be presentational. What do I mean by presentational? They cannot be tied to any business logic, because the main idea here, the main purpose is for these components to be totally reusable on any project you have. So if I modify a button component, that change is going to be reflected in all of your applications. This is very important for companies that have multiple web applications, multiple projects, and they want to have a standardized design system. They don't want to have to deal with, if they have to make one change, they have to hire multiple development teams for different platforms and maintain different code bases, even if the component is the same. So here we are applying the concept of reusability with Storybook. So thank you very much. That's all I wanted to show you. I'll hand it over to Kim.
Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today. Alejandro, Ignacio, Sergio, some of the top SAP Commerce developers in the world. And I can say that with confidence, having spent some time at SAP and Hybris and knowing the great work that these guys have done. So many great thoughts, features, thinking behind how we're using Spartacus to save time and money, increase speed to market, and just make it easier and more stable for your teams to leverage your investment in SAP Commerce. I know we have time for questions. We have the chat. We are certainly available after this session for separate meetings, separate demos to dig in a little bit deeper on any questions that you might have, or if you want to explore anything that you've seen, especially the mono repo, any of those concepts, we are happy to make ourselves available to you. So I'll hand it back off to you, Jonathan, for any questions from the group here.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Alejandro, Sergio, Ignacio, and Kim. So it looks like we did get a few questions in my chat box. So we'll start with those. And if anybody else has any other questions, in the meantime, feel free to put that in the public chat box. So the first one we got is, what is the cost of the Perficient accelerator license?
I get that one. So there is no license cost, no license fee. We have used our experience and the best talent to create this accelerator, but at the end, it's for our developers and the customer. It's nothing better to have something that you enjoy and that you feel like this is the right approach of doing development. And it's our legacy in the project. When we go and develop an e-commerce accelerator or anything on your side, this will be the foundation that we provide with our developers.
Awesome, thank you. The second question is, what is the cost of the various tools and solutions that are part of the accelerator?
All right. All of them are open source. Well, keep in mind that you need to have a collaboration tool for documentation, either Azure or Atlassian. The only one that is paid is the Sonar Cloud, which is around, if I'm not mistaken, is around 100 lines of code per month for $10, something like that. That's the only one. Everything else that we showed you guys today is open source.
Great. The third question, can a repository using the SAP Composable storefront approach be transformed into a mono repository?
Yes, Jonathan, the answer is yes. You can incorporate, for example, this Vercel product that Alejandro just show you, Turbo Repo, into the structure of the template that SAP provides when you implement SAP Commerce using the SAP Composable stuff. So yeah. Okay.
And the last question here is, can you effectively manage CMS components that utilize catalog data, such as a product carousel using a headless CMS?
Yes, the answer is yes, Jonathan. So, well, some CMS, the SAP has created relationship with some of these providers. For example, I know that Contentful, Content Stack, Magnolia, they already have integrations with SAP Commerce, and actually they pull the catalog information like product and categories into the system, so you can build components using also this catalog information. So the answer is yes, Jonathan.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So those were the only questions we had, and it doesn't look...
Jonathan,
oh, go ahead.
We have more questions, I believe, in the chat.
Oh,
and so,
awesome.
Yeah, Balaji is asking if is the Perficient accelerator a custom one created by extending the B2C, B2B accelerator? Yeah, the answer, Balaji, is so our accelerator is basically like a starting point, some code that you take to implement a commerce solution, right? It has two components. It has some extensions in the backend, and of course, it has some tools and frameworks in the front end. Let's start with in the front end. So in the front end, we are leveraging the libraries provided by SAP to consume the APIs from SAP Commerce to handle security and that good stuff. But on top of that, we added and we personalized a lot, because as you can see, the look and feel is totally different. It's improved. We brought new features, as you saw, like advanced search capability, for example, and many other, like end-to-end testing. So in that regard, in the front-end side, we leverage the SAP SDK, the SAP libraries, but we build on top of those. In the backend, yes, the answer is we use what SAP Commerce comes out of the box, and we added, of course, the code necessary to support the features that we brought to the accelerator, as I was mentioning. And the second question is, how about the cost for Coveo?
So for Coveo, sorry, probably it wasn't clear before, all of the tools that we are using for development and continuous integration, testing, and everything, apart from Sonar Cloud, they are all open source. You know that you can run actually Sonar Cloud instead Sonar Cloud, Sonar Cube in locally, but we prefer to have it in remotely. All of those tools are definitely open source, and they don't require any additional payment. Coveo, we have integrated Coveo, but Coveo is an external provider for AI-driven search. This specific one, yes, that one is not part of our tools. This is an external integration that Coveo requires a fee with Coveo. The good thing about our accelerator is that it's a plug and play. So if you do not use Coveo, automatically falls back to Solar, and it works. All of the product, carousel, search, and everything falls back to the regular Solar out of the box.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. That looks like that does round up the questions here. So thank you, everybody who joined. We will be sending you guys this recording on an email. Like Kim said, please feel free to reach out to this team if you have any other questions about the accelerator or SAP Commerce or Perficient. And once again, thank you for joining. Have a good rest of your day.